This CBS 17 Sports Extra is presented by Honda Dealers of the Carolinas.
Welcome to another week of CBS 17's Black and Blue Huddle. Casley Sims, joined by Alyssa Ray, Chris Clark. A lot to get to today. The Panthers come in at 5-5, taking on the 8-2 Saints. Kyle Allen last week was forced to throw 50 passes, 4 went to the other team, but hey, you live and you learn. The Saints, 8-2, like I said, they could lead this one more win to possibly lock up the division. So what do you guys see in this matchup from?
I think they're going to take an L in the Dome because you're playing 12 people, 13 if you count the refs down there. You're talking about a place that gets loud. You're talking about
we went right into it, didn't we, Chris?
I'm just going to say.
You went right out there.
Hey, I'm just going to say it.
Time.
No, hey, just right to it. Let's just get right to it here. This isn't going to be pretty if they don't come down there and at least make this work. If they got problems like they did last week, if you think what the Falcons did to them was bad, if the Saints are halfway on a roll, this is going to be even worse down there.
Yeah, and it could be a wake-up call for them. We saw what happened to the Panthers against the 49ers, and they came back and beat the Texans the next week. I just don't see a bounce back like that, especially not at the Saints and the way that the Saints have been playing, not necessarily against the Falcons, but more so the Panthers have been hurting themselves, and Kyle Allen had a reality check, 4 interceptions, 5 sacks. A lot of that can be blamed on him, some on the offensive line, but the Panthers can't go down there the way they've been playing and think they're even going to make a game out of it. So they have to have a come to Jesus meeting between last week and this weekend to even have a chance to make this an interesting game.
And it looks like that Cinderella run, that 4-0 start, has come to an end. Kyle Allen 1-3 in his last 4 starts, throwing a bunch of picks, getting sacked a lot. I mean, they've got to do a lot to get this win and get back in that playoff hunt, man. I mean, it's still alive for them, but if they lose this one, I think it's pretty much over. I don't think 2 teams in the NFC South gets into the playoffs, so a division win will have to get them there, but I don't know. It's kind of out of reach.
The chance is already slim, but certainly if they lose against the Saints, you might as well just write their season off as far as any postseason. And we've pretty much, once they lost last week to the Falcons, and the Falcons have been playing well. We mentioned that they beat the Saints. They turned around and beat the Panthers. I just think no one's really talking about the Panthers in the playoffs at this point. If they were to come out and beat the Saints, maybe they'd have a little whisper in the conversation, but certainly no one expects that.
No, you got to win out and get some help.
Yes.
And it starts if you really want to turn some heads by going into the Dome and taking out the Saints. Kyle Allen's been under pressure, been getting hit a lot, been forced into making some decisions, and if the line doesn't do a much better job than they did last week, then Kyle Allen's going to be wearing Cameron Jordan as a backpack the entire game. I mean, there's just no other way to say this. I mean, they get pressure up the middle, they get pressure on the sides, and they force great quarterbacks to make bad decisions. Kyle Allen is serviceable right now, and there's more tape on him, which is why you're seeing people start to scheme and figure him out. And you got Sean Payton with a couple days to check a rookie out. I mean, that's what he is here this year. I mean, a rookie quarterback. I mean, that's just a potion for disaster. I hope that they can come up with a scheme and Norv can maybe get some 2-3 step drops to get the ball out, but it better be something good, or it's going to be a long day of Kyle Allen face down on the turf with a lot of Louis Armstrong being played in there when the Saints go marching in, because it's going to get bad.
Somewhere Cam Newton's sitting here like, thanks, guys. I told you,
Smoking a cigar, drinking a wine. Hey,
miss me yet?
You missed me, exactly.
Real quick to write me off, but not that easy. And especially seeing what the offensive line's doing to Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's not getting any help. He's not really helping himself much either. I'm sure Cam somewhere is sitting here like, well, the clock's ticking before they make a choice on me.
And also, the Saints, they do well defending the running back. And Christian McCaffrey, big part of his offense.
Huge.
You got a chance to catch up with Christian McCaffrey, see what he had to say about this week's matchup, see what he had to say.
A guy like Christian McCaffrey, I think he's probably, the second closest thing to AK. The way he's able to shift and motion out of the backfield, the way he's able to make guys miss in the open field, that alone is special. So that's something, again, that we've noticed, and we'll have to stick to all of our details.
They really need this win, and we also do too. We want to make sure this is a division game, and we want to lock down the division as soon as possible. So we know they're gonna come in firing. They definitely gonna be desperate, but we're gonna be ready for them.
You could say it's very similar to the position we were in coming off of last week. Where you lose one at home, and you didn't play your best football, obviously, and there's a lot at stake. Listen, these are divisional games. They're we're fighting to win the division. They're fighting, to be in contention as well.
No secret McCaffrey leads the league in rushing yards, but he's only one person. He can only do so much to carry this team.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The Saints, they do a pretty good job of handling the running game, but they do a great job of stopping running backs catching passes out of the backfield. And that's where, I mean, that's half of his game right there. So you better be able to get the other half to step up, and I'd be interested to see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, and you see the Panthers, they still lead the league in sacks. They got to go up against a pretty formidable offense, Drew Brees, Mike Thomas, who is virtually unguardable. In fact, his Twitter handle is "Can't Guard Mike," which you actually can't guard this man. What do you think the Panthers need to do this week to maybe slow down that Saints offense a bit?
I think you need to get somebody right on the line of scrimmage as close as I am to you and just harass the crap out of them all day. And over my shoulder, you need somebody like Eric Reed just in case something does happen. And just make somebody else beat you. Make them find some other part of the gumbo mix down there that will be able to beat you, and don't let Mike do it.
Yeah, Michael Thomas leads the league in receiving yards. He has more than 1,100. This is going to be up to the DBs. They're really going to have to do their job and cover him. And there weren't as many takeaways last game as there has been in the past, and they really need to step it up. The secondary needs to try to get those takeaways and bring it to their advantage, because I think the Panthers' offense just isn't really doing it all for them. The offense is not going to win this game. They're going to need some help from their defense, and that means covering Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I agree. So, one question. How you guys' fantasy football teams doing?
Terrible. Still terrible.
Still terrible?
Thank you for asking.
I'm doing all right. Playoff season is almost upon us. So every week, we got your 3 guys that you need to start. 3 guys you might want to sit on the bench. It's your weekly start them and sit them. First up, Atlanta Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has put up a few bad games this season, but a midseason switch has clicked for the veteran quarterback. His Falcons have taken down the Saints and Panthers in consecutive weeks, and he's put up 18 fantasy points in both contests. This week, he gets the Buccaneers defense that I've been picking on all season. Since both defenses for these teams are bad, I'm expecting a shootout of some sort, with Matt Ryan being needed to put together all of the legwork. The Bucs' run defense has been a very good unit this year, and there is uncertainty in the Falcons' backfield, putting more of an onus on Ryan. Don't know what the Falcons are planning to do for the rest of the season, but I assume trying to win is part of it. Look for Ryan to torch the Buccaneers defense, allowing the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks this season. Next up, Pittsburgh Steelers running back Jalen Samuels. J-Sam, my guy! The NC State product will likely get the start this week as James Conner deals with injuries. This start couldn't have come at a better week for the versatile back, as the Steelers will meet the Bengals in the AFC North matchup. The Bengals defense has allowed 12 total TDs and the 5th most points to opposing running backs this season, so this game will be all about Samuels seizing a perfect opportunity. Samuels has had 4 games this season with at least 10 total touches and has at least 14 points per reception points in 3 of those games. The Steelers will likely be without top wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, so the plot thickens for an awesome game for J-Sam. Last but not least, Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf. I expected the Eagles secondary to get torched last week against the Patriots and Tom Brady, but that was not the case. Enter MVP candidate Russell Wilson, who has been on a tear and has a behemoth of wide receiver and DK Metcalf at his disposal in a key matchup for Seattle. Seattle has dealt with injuries to the offensive guys, but Metcalf has been a mainstay in this offense. The Eagles defense has allowed the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers this year. Many won't be on DK this week due to plenty of other wide receivers having great matchups, but if you're looking to set yourself apart, DK is your guy. All right, so I hope those guys do well for you if you decide to put them in your lineups or not. Whatever.
Someone started Kyle Allen last week in my league, and I played them, and I still lost.
Yikes.
By 10.
Yikes.
It was,
okay.
Yeah, I told you my team's bad. I have Tom Brady, who hasn't been doing well either. So
No, he hasn't.
No.
So hopefully he does this week.
Yes.
Okay, so Panthers, Saints, divisional matchup. We love those. Who wins?
I'm going to go Saints. I'm going to say 28-7 Saints. I'm going to say that they get on the board, but it ain't going to be till late. And if they can get pressure, I mean, that's how the Buccaneers beat the Saints before. They got pressure right up the middle, and they managed to get Drew Brees. I think they knocked him down 5-6 times that game. They got the pressure. If you can get some pressure on them, you got a puncher's chance. It's possible, not probable. I'm going to go say 28-7, maybe 28-10. They get a field goal late. I just don't see this one happening. Well,
I agree, and pretty close to the score, too. I think Saints will take this one. The only shot I think the Panthers have is if they get to a quick start, get a couple quick touchdowns, and then get some breathing room and, not get behind the ball. But I do not see that happening.
Yeah, I want to be different, but I can't. I mean, the Saints are playing too well. They're in playoff mode, it seems like.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Saints maybe sort of like you did, 28-7. Hopefully it's not a situation where they're taking a field goal late to get on the board.
That was terrible.
But 28-7 is what I'm seeing. It's going to be pretty ugly for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, and last quote, though, for we do the Black and Blue Huddle. So, of course, I know a lot of Panthers fans are watching this. And for you guys, this is a game that if Panthers do come out, they do get an upset, this is a huge statement. Yes. I mean, this isn't a game you just want to write off. It could be a fun one to watch. And, of course, you would want the Panthers to make it a game and make it a close one like they did in Green Bay and make it interesting. And it could be a statement game for them, and we'll see how it plays out. But if I was a betting woman, which I'm not, I would pick Saints, but not to say that the Panthers might not make it fun.
A good springboard, though. If they knock off the Saints down there in the Bayou, then you've got, the Redskins, you've got the Colts, you got the Falcons in Atlanta, which, I mean, if they play their game, they should be able to get them back.
Yes.
Then what you're looking at is a game against the Saints and possibly maybe go for the playoffs. So I'd love to see them do it. No, love to see them do it, but, man, you got to come correct this week.
Yes.
You do. All right, we run out of time. For Black and Blue Huddle, I'm Casley Sims. Chris Clark, Alyssa Ray. We'll see you next week.